things. I love the fact that in this movie, I love to call you like a dark chocolate Don Corleone. Because I think that is hysterical. I love that Tayurisha has written this character that most of the time we only see men play these types of roles. We don't see women play these types of roles.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, what was it like for you to tap into Sela with that kind of mindset?
Well, I feel like a lot of the times, like you said, like they don't want to see women playing these types of roles because it's it's kind of like they don't want to see us successful in our power struggles. You know, a lot of men are successful coming out of it and they've learned something. And I feel like women can go through that exact thing with that exact like intensity and responsibility. So I feel like carrying that responsibility and that like intensity and weight of Sela was like very attractive to me. So so I just really wanted to play that.
I'm so taken aback because in the film you're so like you're such a sweetie pie, such a not a little girl, but you have such a sweet disposition about you. And
Mm-hmm.
baby Sela is like Sela will cut somebody.
Sela is she's unapologetically aggressive. Um she's I feel like she's just was raised, you know, you see her mother in the film, she's kind of like that same kind of like my way or the highway, you're not gonna. So it's very nice to see Sela being a piece of that in her own way, you know, in her like the 17-year-old version.
What was the most attractive to you about playing Sela?
Mm, I think there was so much. I feel like there was so much, but I the relationship like with Paloma and like having like that kind of relationship not being romantic but still being intimate was like very like cool for me. And it was like also like okay, like this can like be possible with like two girls that and one isn't into like any sex relationships. Like it's possible for like a 17-year-old girl to like not want that but still to like take control and like reclaim her body as like her own and stuff like that. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, actually a great answer, which brings me
Mm-hmm.
right to this issue. You mentioned Paloma. I got the feeling that there was like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I read so much into it because you were saying
Mm-hmm.
that two 17-year-old girls can have a relationship that's not
Mm-hmm.
sexual, but there was always this undercover kind of lesbianish vibe
Mm.
happening from the two of them. And I wasn't sure if Sela was initiating it or if Paloma was kind of undercover. What do you think about that?
I I feel like if it were, I don't feel like there was, but I feel like if there were, then it was possibly just like the way like that energy transaction like works. It probably gives off like that kind of like romantic, like in like really intimate vibe. But I feel like Sela and Paloma, they just shared like this common like want, and like they wanted to like parent it together, but like their parenting was like very different than like your typical situation because they are 17-year-old girls and one doesn't is kind of asexual. So like, you know, it was just
Uh,
like really cool for me to see that.
it was cool for me to see it too. I really enjoyed this movie because usually when we see films about boarding schools, it's always from a white perspective. We never see
Mm.
any people of color, and when we do, they're kind of there in the background. They're walking in the background, or it's one black person, and it's like the best friend of whoever the white protagonist is. So I love the
Mhm.
fact that there was chocolate people running the boarding school.
Yeah.
It gave me my entire life. I was like, oh, this is fabulous. Um, let's talk about your brother Maxie. Sela had no shame in throwing her brother under the bus. What do you think is what do you think makes up her personality to the point where she wants what she wants by any means necessary and she doesn't even care who gets thrown under the bus, even her own brother. Like, she set Maxie
Well,
up to get his
well,
butt whooped.
Maxie is her best friend, not her brother. Actually,
Oh.
he's her best friend of like a long time, and he's like her apprentice. And so
Oh,
like
I always, they were so close. I thought they were brother and
yeah, we were
sister.
like, yeah. So they're like childhood best friends. Like that's like the only other person Sela will ever trust, I feel. Like so Maxie had like a big influence on her, and I feel like he was more of an influence because he wasn't family and he wasn't like she chose him. So like to have that kind of like betrayal, like I feel would drive Sela nuts, especially because like, you know, power, she kind of had everything in control, and when people kind of like when their powers, you know, what's the word, I can't, when their power is
Diminished.
no. I'm really sorry, I like always like get stuck on these one words, but
That's all right, girl. It's a
yeah, when it
conversation. It's
starts
all
to,
good.
because I always want to get it out, but but when something happens, you know, they kind of get frantic. So like you see Sela start to get frantic, and like her morals start to change. So like everyone that could have been like close to her, I feel like threatened. That was the word, threatened.
Boom.
When her control is threatened. So I feel like when when it's threatened, I feel like she feels personally attacked. So she has to do everything to like protect herself, because I feel like it's for Sela, it's like me before you in every circumstance, in every case scenario type deal.
Yeah, she is very much like that. It's like
Yeah,
she will protect herself at all costs. She's not going to be that person that's going to be caught off guard or caught by
at
surprise.
all.
And if
Hmm.
there's a situation where she finds herself being caught off, like with Maxie, and finding out that he kind of like not double crossed her, but kind of did some stuff that she never thought he would do. She was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, no, I can't mess with you."
Yeah, even
Which,
when like he didn't like listen, I feel like Sela also takes up like this maternal role that you don't see, like the shadow self of like the maternal world, like where she's kind of negligent and kind of like you have to do what I say, like that conditional kind of like love. You know, like I feel like
yeah,
she was
that
only okay
mafia
with him
don
when
kind
things,
of love.
yeah, like when
That,
things are going smoothly, then we're good. But like if you do something that makes me upset, you're gonna have to pay the price.
I loved seeing a young chocolate sister in total because we don't ever see us like that on screen. We see
Hmm.
us in a different myriad of ways that don't show us being strong like that, and having control
Yeah.
over other people and having control over ourselves. So I was digging Sela to the nth degree. I really was. Do you think that have you ever been in a situation, because I feel like sometimes people misjudge Sela, or not misjudge her, but they don't necessarily have a handle on where she is, because she switches it up all the time so
Hmm.
that you can't have a handle on where she is. Have you
Hmm.
ever met somebody and misjudged them, or thought they were one way and they ended up being another way?
Um. Yes. I I
How did that
have.
make you feel when that happened?
You know, I felt like a fool. And I'm going to be honest with you, for a long time, me and my mom, we would go back and forth, and I thought she was one way. So I was like judging my mom as a mom. But as I'm growing up and I'm like seeing her as a person, I'm like, oh, okay. And now we're best friends. So it was like the biggest mistake I made as a kid.
Yeah, every kid does that. As you
Yeah.
grow up, you start to see your parents for people and not as your parents.
Yeah, and I
I,
feel like that's what Sela has to understand. Like she has to see people as like people and not pawns, you know?
mm,
I feel like
mm,
she's kind of just looking at everything as like a business transaction. And it has
mm.
to make sense from like that business transaction, and like she's so like neglecting of her like emotional state that like she has moments of like these like wild like rages, and like she'll do things that she's gonna regret as you. But
As
yeah.
I saw.
Yes, as you saw.
Yeah. Would you ever? So, a lot of times when we're friends with people, because we're like die hard loyal, we allow
Mhm.
ourselves to be misguided in that friendship. And in the process of it happening, we don't realize that that's what's going down. Would you, as Lovey, allow yourself to be misguided in the course of being loyal in a friendship?
No, I feel like I'm too self-aware at this point. I feel like maybe in the past, yes, but I feel like I've gone through my trials, so I feel I look for like that validation like internally, not externally. So like I can't really be like swayed. It's kind of like I kind of took that from Sela too. Like, what do I want? Like, okay, all of this is going on, but like with all of this going on, what do I want in this situation? And kind of like working like that to like follow my intuition in a way. Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, we all, some of us are sick and shut in, and some of us are just shut in right now. What's
Yeah.
your favorite thing to stream, and what have you been catching up on since you've been in and out?
I have I have succumbed to the Tiger King
Oh,
fan club.
no.
It just happened. I didn't expect it to happen, but it just happened. And at first I was just like, but then I couldn't turn it off. That's where they get you. So that's what I've been doing
I
as of
could turn it
lately.
off. I could turn it off. I couldn't take it. When they were showing,
It's
look,
cringy. It's cringy, but like the cringiness, I'm kind of like fascinated by it a little bit. It's kind of like watching like videos of like people eat.
they showed that tiger getting down on that cow leg. I'm like, and I'm out.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot.
Do it. I just could not do it. What else are you filling your time with at home other than
Well,
streaming? Are you working out? Are you having
yeah,
some
I've
happy
been
hours?
working out. I've been doing some yoga. I've also been cooking a lot more because, like, when quarantine wasn't happening, I was like, listen, I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to cook. Now I have all the time. So, like, every morning I've been,
Thing to
like,
cook.
waking up at 10 and I'll, like, cook for my whole family, like, breakfast. And then, like, I'll cook with, like, my siblings and we'll make dinner together or something. So it's been real fun.
Look
Yeah.
at you, Chef Lovey. What's your favorite thing to make,
I
Chef
try
Lovey?
sometimes. I make a mean peach cobbler.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
gonna need
peach
you to make and
cobbler.
freeze some.
I got you. I'm gonna put it in the freezer for you. And
Oh,
and last night I like made this like really good banana bread.
oh, see, you trying to have somebody come out of quarantine 300 pounds bigger. I can't with you.
Honestly, I'm like I'm just preparing to like be a grandmother, you know? Like I feel like I'm like, listen, I'm feeding everyone. I'm making sure nobody leaves like without 2 plates at least minimum.
She said 2 plates minimum. You are hysterical. I wanted to ask you, are you still attached to do the craft?
Yes, I am.
How
We
did
finished filming that in November.
Oh, I'm so excited because
Yes.
this is a remake of the old one, right?
Yes, it's a reboot. So like we're not yeah, it's gonna be really good.
I
Mhm.
love that movie. So it was one of my favorite movies back in the day. Did you look
Really?
at the Yeah, oh girl, that was the craft was one of my favorites because when I was a kid, I was really fascinated by spells and stuff like that just because it was
Mhm.
different and it looked like
Mhm.
it was something that somebody made up, and I would good books and I would try some of that stuff. It never worked ever. Like I had a Ouija board. It was a whole situation. But but when you were preparing for it, did you check out the old one, and did you look into witchcraft at all before preparing for the film?
Yes. When I auditioned for it, even like before I got the part, I was like, ooh, but like that audition was like really nice. I wanna see what that's about. So I watched it and I was like, whoa. And then it also became my favorite movie for a period of time. I was like, wow, this is like really cool. Like everything was just like so like I don't know, like it felt like feminine, like military, like witchy, like everything like that I'm into. And I've always been very like spiritual and stuff. And so even like spells like in different forms, I feel like, you know, affirmations, like spells and like cooking and stuff like that, and like color therapy and all that. So I've already been into that. And so just being on that was just like the like cherry on top kind of situation. And also like meeting girls that are also into that stuff. Oh,
Oh,
oh, oh,
who
oh.
is?
Hello.
Oh,
Sorry.
time must be up.
No. But yeah, no, that was like really cool though, because it was like hanging out with like women that were into all of the same things as me and like bonding with them, and they have like completely different backgrounds, because like it's like you have a Mexican trans girl and a black girl and two white girls, and it's just like, okay, how does that friendship work? And like it kind of blends, weirdly enough, like really cool, you know, like it's not something you see all the time, but it's something that like you should definitely see all the time, because like our different parts of our personalities were just like able to flow. It's just so easy, and we were all like different elements, like air, fire, water, earth, and it was
Right.
just, yeah, it was really fun.
I'm looking forward to it. I love it. It scared me back in the day, so I can't even imagine what they're gonna do with
Really?
it. Yeah, girl, that movie was kind of scary because it was like, oh, okay, when people started floating and dragging feet across the floor, it was a lot going on.
You was like, all
But
right, this is
I was like, okay, I'm gonna need y'all to tone that down just a little bit. But it is one of my favorite films. So as I was researching you, I was really excited to see that you were attached to that, and
Mhm.
I couldn't wait to hear what you had to say about it. But I think that is our
Yeah.
time, Miss Lovey. I'm
Okay.
so happy that you took some time out of your day to talk to me. It was so
Me
much fun
too.
talking to you. Your energy is
Yes.
infectious. You're such a lovely young woman, and I wish
Thank
you
you
the
so
best
much.
always. I really do.
Thank you. It was so lovely talking to you.
All right, darling. Bye.
All right, bye.